Hey folks, I just want to show you that you can make some pretty intense designs, some pretty complicated things here with TinkerCAD, with really without a whole lot of effort and with some basic shapes. So this is a little generator that I'm working on, and these little blue pieces are going to be coil holders. These little red pieces represent the magnets that will be used in the design. And yeah, so all this was made with the most basic of shapes, and this is not even really a complex design if you look at some other ones out there. So, what was used in this? I used cylinders, both holes and solids. I used rectangles, holes and solids. I used a few roof pieces or triangles as holes. I used some of these half circles, and really, I think that's about it. So let's break down just the rotor piece, just to show you, what's going on there. So to start off with, the red pieces, the magnets, are just rectangles, and they're grouped together, and they're not connected to anything, and well, they're not even really going to be printed. But I wanted them there as a representation that magnets belong here. But the rotor itself, if you pull it up, I'm just going to select that one piece and pull it up. Well, that still looks kind of maybe a little bit complex, but it's not. So what we're going to do is we're going to ungroup that and see what it's made up of. Well, it still looks a little complex, don't it? But again, it's not. Let's look from the top down. When you break it apart, the whole pieces that are going to be negative void space, show up kind of gray looking like this. So we can see around the outside we use those same rectangles that we use for magnets. We just turn those same exact things into holes to make that void space for us. So that's pretty cool. So that's all those are, just rectangles. In the center, you have all these different shapes of triangles. It's actually just two different sizes of triangles. You got this size here, and you got this size here. And there's no real function to these other than to save on material when I go to print this, and it kind of looks cool. But that's all it is. They're just rectangles and triangles. Okay, let's keep going because that's not really all there is to it. This is just a text that I made some text, and you push that slightly below the surface so that it makes like an imprint. And so if you want to label your piece to with a ID number or product number or somebody's name or whatever, you just make text, you turn it into a hole, and you sink it into your solid surface. So that's all that is. All right, let's pull up one more time. I'm going to pull just the wheel up. It looks like a big piece of cheese, don't it? And each time I'm leaving behind what I had. Here's the magnets, here's the rectangles. If you kind of look up its little skirt there, you can see the triangles. And coming down, and now you've got the wheel. Well, it's not just a wheel though, it's got a hole in it, right? So let's ungroup that and see what that is. Well, I'll be. It's just one big cylinder and one tall skinny cylinder that is a hole. So by picking your shapes carefully, by sizing them the way you need them to be sized, turning it into a void space or into a solid, you can put those things together and make something really cool. Now, let me undo all this. So these guys are just the same. Now I'm not going to pull those out. I tried to pull one out earlier, and I just grouped them way funky, so I'm not going to do that. But I will show you that this is the frame that the coil, the copper coil will be wound onto. So all you have there, and I'll see if I can zoom in, is you have, look at this little back plane, right? You have a half a circle put together with a rectangle, and on the bottom you have the same half circle as you have on the top, and it's grouped as one piece. Now extending out from this, you have exactly the same thing. You have a half circle on the top, you got a rectangle in the middle, and you got a half circle on the bottom, so it makes a nice little curved edges there for you. Now if you blow this thing to bits, you'll see that, like right here, you got two holes. You got a hole that goes all the way through to the back and a hole that goes all the way through the back, and all that is a cylinder that is turned into a hole. So if you want to thread something in there or whatever, you can do that. This big piece on the outside, this big ring, let's see if we can pull that out. I don't know what we got going on there, but let's see. Okay, so essentially we got the same things. I'm going to blow it up, ungroup it. All right, so these are what all these little threaded holes are, are made from. These interior cylinders at different angles, and it's easy to reposition those things. All you do is, let's see, we got what, I don't know, 15 of those things. Yeah, it looks like we got 15 on the top and 15 on the bottom. All you do is you make one inside your ring, and if there's 15, you'll take 360 degrees divided by 15. You come up with a number. That's the number of your angle that you rotate, and it'll rotate all the way around. Anyway, more on that later. So you got this ring on the outside, and then you have these guys. I'm going to get rid of those for now. Let's blow that apart and see what we got. Ah, look at there. That looks familiar, doesn't it? It's the same thing as these. Now, I want to fit these guys into these slots, but I had to make those slots. So I just turned this into a hole, and fit it in exactly where I wanted it, and it makes this little cutout that you see. See those cutouts. Okay, delete those. Now we're left with just a plain old ring, and it's the same exact thing as this on top, but our negative space, right, our cylinder that's a hole, is just much larger. See, so those are all extremely basic shapes. We got holes, or cylinders, we got rectangles, we got half circles, we got triangles, and I think that is every single thing that I use in here. Oh, and text. So now you see it's really not that difficult, so don't let the task look worse than it is. Hope you enjoyed it.